The Centre Parks, before we were officially into Tier 3, Centre Parks said on their website, if you're in Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, this is what you can and can't do. Tier 3 basically saying you can't come. But here's a cancellation/refund form that you can easily fill out and everything's sorted. Brilliant, no problem at all. But then a day or two later, Lucy said to me, yeah, I've done it all, but there's a £25 cancellation fee. So I'm like, you what? As if. So as the day goes on, I was like, I'll tweet him if you want. Shall I tweet him? She went, yeah, go on then. So I sent him a tweet saying, hey, Centre Parks UK, on your website, you won't allow anybody from Tier 3 to visit any of your sites and have put together a cancellation form that it affects. Great. But please tell me why you are charging a £25 cancellation fee. That is not booking with confidence.
Ooh. Right? Okay, yeah.
So about 40 minutes later, Georgina replies back to me. Hi, Mike. We aren't charging any cancellation fees. Did you at all purchase the cancellation insurance as an extra on your booking? This would have been an active policy from the time you made your booking. Therefore, this is non-refundable. So I read this out to Lucy, and she's looking at me. And I could just see slowly the realization that, yeah, that might be it, Mike. So she gets her phone out, she checks, and she's like, yeah, it's the insurance. It's like, great. So I tweeted them back saying, I have since been informed by my girlfriend, brackets, who told me to tweet you on this matter, that this is indeed the insurance. I wholeheartedly apologise and will never tweet on her behalf again. Thank you for getting back to me and have a lovely life.
Yeah, you need to make sure you put the blame back on her. Social media needs to know it's not me. I know it was horrible to you, but it was someone else.
It was definitely her. Whether they believe me or not, I'm not too sure. But she did reply back to me saying, no worries, Mike. It's an easy mistake. Apology accepted. Take care. And I just felt like a dick.
Or they're doing a celebration dance in the background, the admin. Yes, we got one. It wasn't our fault this time.
Yeah, if Georgina would have been like, she'd have been writing that going, we haven't charged you anything. It's your insurance.
Flexing those fingers
nice
be like,
about it.
Yep, here we go. Here we go. I used to do back in the day, I used to do a lot of customer service social media stuff at an old company. And when you found out you were completing the right, you'd be like, oh, okay then, here we go.
That was the best thing about like retail or any sort of customer service thing is that when they're in the wrong, they're telling you that you're wrong, but you're like, I'll just let you say your piece. And the amount of complaint, River Round was the best. It used to be brilliant. There was one particular person, I remember she brought back a white bag and it had like a blue stain rubbed up at the side. She was like, I don't want this bag. I was like, I'm sorry, can't return it. You've worn it. No, I haven't. It's been on my kitchen side. No, you've definitely worn it. No, I haven't. I can see the jean marks that are rubbed up against the bag. Well, I don't want it anymore. Well, I'm sorry, you can't return it. But I've not worn it. I've not used it. I was like, well, you have. You clearly have. I'm sorry. And then we had an exchange, and then she went off, and she went back to customer services and kicked off. And customer services came to me and said, "Yeah, can you just enlighten us on this?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I can."
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. She'd worn it. She said she hadn't. I'm not returning it. If you want to return it, that's fine, but I'm not knocking it off our revenue. And I didn't hear anything off them since. But it's great. It's great when you're on the other end of that. If I was Georgina, I'd have been loving it.
Well, on that note, welcome to A Daft Question. This is the podcast where we try to debate the questions you never thought you needed answering. David Evans here on the microphone once again. And joining me, as always, is the beauty to my beast. It's Mr. Mike Malins.
Stop it.
It's a handsome beast, I must add.
How you doing, David?
I'm all right. I'm all right once again.
You're all right. You're all right. That's going to wear off quite quickly.
Yes. Like your story, I'm also holiday-less thanks to this bloody coronavirus.
So where were you meant to go?
Wales was supposed to be the destination.
You can't do anything, can you, Wales?
No. So it's a half-term week off. It's a nice to have a week off, but it's just now trying to find stuff to do.
Yeah,
which is fun. I think Safari Park is in order this week.
Oh, okay then. No, see, that's all right. You can stay in your car, can't you?
And just places with fields.
with fields.
You can't really book anywhere to go now. It's too
No.
late.
And the
So-
weather's naff. It's not like it's June or July, is it?
I know, yeah. So we went out today. That was quite nice. Weather was
Okay.
cold, but it was nice weather. But apart from that, it's just right. What are the fields?
Where did you go?
We're to a place called Dudmaston, which is
Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, it's like a National Trust place.
Oh, okay then.
One of your National Trust places filled with lots of middle class people.
Little tip for you: if you're going to do more National Trust places,
Yeah,
you want your free car parking and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can get National Trust memberships.
yeah,
If you get the Scottish one, it's cheaper,
right.
and you can go all, and you can use it all over UK.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. There's a money saving tip for everybody there.
Yeah, basically, you can call me money saving expert.
If you want to get the overpriced drinks and the lots of middle class people wearing gilets all the time, then National Trust is your place to go.
It is, isn't it?
Michael, this week we're recording, it's Halloween at the weekend, so there is a very, very loose Halloween feel to questions this week. So we're going to join those very much. We are going to get to correspondence. I'm excited for a correspondence this week.
Yeah, I feel that you've, and I'll let you on this one. You've got a lot of input for the correspondence this week.
Yeah, I've got some particular correspondence from Bernard's Watch last week,
yes,
which will be interesting. Mike, before we get onto that, it's the bit of the podcast you enjoy the most. It's the bit where you get to repeat all the social channels where people can give us questions. And bear in mind, people still are messaging me personally with their opinions. Do it on the official channels.
Yeah.
God damn it. Do it on the official channels.
We haven't made it for fun. We've made it so it's easier for everyone.
Yeah. And to remind people so they don't keep telling me personally, and I will now have their vendetta against them, what are those personal channels? Not personal channels. What are those channels? Sorry.
Our channels, Twitter and Instagram at a Daft Question. Send us a tweet, give us a DM, comment on a picture, whatever you like. Email us at a Daft Question. Sorry, email us at daftquestion@gmail.com, or search a Daft Question on YouTube and comment on one of our videos.
Very, very good. And if you're listening on iTunes and you like the podcast so far, hopefully you do, give us a 5-star review and a comment. We'd really appreciate it. I know every single podcast under the sun asks you this, but it literally does take it takes about 10 seconds to do.
10 seconds. 22 we're on now.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, let's get to 25.
20. I'd be happy with. I'd be over the moon with 25.
There must be 3 people out there with iTunes who haven't done it yet who will think, you know what? Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Yeah, that's to be.
I'll give you a 5-star, not a 1-star. Don't be that person.
Give us a 5-star. I did a little beg on Facebook earlier to try and get us a 5-star.
Fingers crossed then. Let's see if any of those Facebook begs come and knock him. Right, let's do correspondence. Before I get into my bit of correspondence, Mike, any other particular correspondence from last week's questions?
Yes, we've got a few people that mentioned about the bunk beds.
Yeah, okay.
Now this is a great name on Twitter, I think. His name Daniel Ratcliffe.
Okay.
But his
handle.
His handle. We should have asked David last week. His handle is at the Ratman Scoop.
Oh, I like it.
Good at it. It's good.
I like it. Yeah.
So he said top for him, just because in general top is the best in most things. So top of the league, top of the charts, etc. And when I delved a little bit deeper, he said that he'd been on stag do's, didn't bang his head when he pissed, and he still went on the top bed, but he wouldn't have liked to have slept below him because after a night out and a dirty kebab, who emoji?
It seeps through.
So thank you very much for that. There was someone else as well. Hang on.
Organisation here.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd screenshot it. Burner's watch. No, well, okay. Well, I can't find it at the minute, but
okay.
We did do a poll on the Instagram. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, I didn't actually see it, but carry on.
So we did top bunk or bottom bunk.
Yeah.
With the answers simply being top, of course, or bottom, I'm not stupid. And this was actually quite close. compared to the other ones.
Okay.
So top, of course, was 41%.
Mhm.
Bottom, I'm not stupid, 59%.
Ooh, not as close as a Brexit vote, but nearly there.
I mean, yeah, it's not a Brexit vote. No, you're
No.
right. So that was that. And then I did have at least one for the Berners Watch.
Yeah.
At Mike Jones 8772. Said he loved it as a kid, but looking back, he can't help but feel the watch was wasted on Bernard.
I think we established that last week.
Which we completely agree. And that was the whole basis of our podcast, Mike. And I did have one. Well, I had a couple actually. So obviously we talked about what goes well together that shouldn't go well together.
Yes.
So Haley from America, my good old cousin, spreading
okay.
the love over there.
Number one podcast in America.
Number one podcast in America. She's put cheese and peanut butter in a sandwich.
Cheese and peanut. Now, as a connoisseur of a man who likes cheese with anything, would you go with cheese and peanut butter?
I've since tried this.
Yeah.
I've tried this as a sandwich, and I would eat it again.
Oh, you do literally have cheese and anything.
It was very dry.
Okay.
So I'll probably put a little bit more butter on next time, but it worked well. I'll give her that.
Okay. All right.
And then the other one was Kirsty Foster, who said that one of her butties is cheese and jam.
Oh, again, I'm going to trust your opinion on this. Would you do cheese and jam?
I've not tried it because we don't have jam, but I imagine it would be nice. I imagine it'd be a lot not moist because people don't like the word moist. Wouldn't be as dry.
Okay.
Wouldn't be as dry as cheese and peanut butter.
Are you going to put that on your to-do list? Cheese and jam. Are you going to give it a try?
If the opportunity is there for me to have a bit of jam with the cheese that's in the fridge, and I will. I'm here to research and put myself forward for this podcast. So if it means I have to eat a sandwich,
yeah.
Damn it, Daniel. Damn it, David.
How many years?
Damn it, David. I will do it.
Okay. I'm sure listeners could try this out as well for our sake as well. Surely someone's got some cheese and some jam at home. Just try a bit on a bit of bread and butter and just let us know what you think.
But it just confirms that cheese goes with everything.
Yes. Yes, maybe. Okay.
Your turn, David.
Bernard's Watch correspondence, right? Mm-hmm. I had more correspondence to this than I thought I would get. So we'll go for the big bit at the end. We'll build up to that bit, all right?
Okay.
So a lot of people say to me they'd never heard of Bernard's Watch whatsoever. So they're in your camp, Mike.
Well, no, I'd heard of it.
Okay.
About 10 years ago.
But never watched.
15 years ago, but I just never watched it.
Okay. I had a lot of people saying they just never heard of it. Or when I sent them a YouTube clip, they were like, no idea what this was. So I think there was a generational thing. I think it perhaps touched certain age ranges of our generation, but maybe missed younger or older audiences. But that's when the strange correspondence start coming in about Bernard's Watch, when people knew about it. So a friend of mine who tweets in the show regularly, that Matt Alliker,
yes,
he's a good friend, Matt, from my lesser successful podcast days. He sent me a message. He said that he really enjoyed the podcast last week, which is always a good thing. And he sent me this message.
Does he give us a 5-star review?
I think he has.
Okay,
I'm now going to peer pressure him to do that if he does have an Apple phone. When I was talking about that, he said there's a guy who works at a place called Turkish Delight in Chapel Ash. Chapel Ash is just before Wolverhampton city centre.
Okay.
A lot of restaurants there. There's a lot of takeaway places there as well. He says that a guy who works in that place appeared as an extra in the newer series of Bernard's Watch as a head teacher.
Oh, cool.
Little factoid there for you.
What's the newer series? Have they rebooted it?
Yeah, no. So this is something I didn't mention last week. The guy who played it, David Peachy, did it for a few years, and then they recast him. And they did like a newer, almost a slightly rebooted version of Bernard's Watch for a few years. And then one of my good friends, Matt Hobbs, texted me saying you enjoyed the show again.
Good man.
I'd inadvertently mentioned him twice last week in stories and kind of completely forgot. So bunk bed story, the story I said about how I nearly pull the bunk bed completely over.
Yes.
He was in the bottom bunk.
Oh, right,
that
okay.
scenario. And the story about a friend of mine who he's a friend at uni used to think lol was something else. It was him. He was his friend at uni who thought lol. Right. Anyway, so he texted me this thing, and I can't believe he's never told me this to this day. He was in the same hall at uni as David Peachy.
Really?
So he was in the same hall as him at uni. I can't believe he's never told me the story. So he said to me that he'd never really spoke to him. Seemed like a okay guy, but they just passed in the corridor and that was it. But some of the stories he told me were that when his flatmate kind of figured out who he was,
right,
it was very much the case of we're introducing to other people. Oh, did you ever hear that Berners Watch program?
Absolutely.
So I kind of got the sense it probably got to him a bit if all the time people are saying this.
Yeah, it would.
There was a Facebook group set up called Berners Watch the Uni Years, and it was just filled with pictures of David Peachy going clubbing.
Okay.
And one story told me as well, these flatmates were trying to impress some girls by saying they knew this guy.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. I would have definitely used that as a chat up line.
So they had these girls over, and these girls obviously really wanted to meet him. And they said, okay, so the next not so tall person, brown-haired person that walks in will be him. Mm-hmm. And my mate, who fits that description, walks in. So all these girls rush over to him like, oh, what's it like a Berners Watch? And he's like, that's not me. But yeah, it seemed like he was studying medicine at the time as well.
Clever lad.
So and also the big news, sorry, after all that.
Yeah, don't miss out the big news.
Thanks to the power of Twitter, somehow we have convinced that man, David Peachy, who played Berners Watch, to come on the podcast in the new year to talk about Berners Watch. I thought he'd completely ignore my kind of quirky message saying you're more than welcome to come on if you want to, but he said he's more than welcome to do it in the new year. So I will DM him in the new year. Let's see if that was a genuine request, not just let me just say something now and you'll forget in the new year. But if we can get him on in the new year and talk a bit about Berners Watch back in the day and the stuff we asked on last week's show about do people still ask him, does he keep any watches? I guess that he tried to stay away from it at uni. That's my impression.
I'd have been all over it, but I'm not in that camp. But at uni, I'd have been like, yeah. In fact, I don't know why I didn't even use it as a chat line. Like, no one would have known if I wasn't Bernard Watch. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he feels about the show now, what he was like at uni about it, because it probably could have gone one way or the other, and it sounds like it went the other. So it'd be interesting to see what his feelings and thoughts are on it.
I would love it if you would try to pretend you were Bernard from Berners Watch at uni. And people just Google you and go, really? Yeah. I've got older. I've changed a bit.
If you think about it, though, when we went to uni from 2005, smartphones weren't really a thing.
But we did used to hang out a lot in the computer rooms in our spare time.
We did.
Before lectures, it was like, what should we do? Computers? Yep, okay.
Yeah, we did actually, didn't we? Like, first thing. Yeah, but I mean, if I went on a night out and said I was the guy that played Bernard Watch, they'd have to wait till the day after to Google me. So it would have worked that night. It wouldn't have been an issue. That's genius. Stuff like that.
So you could now get away with saying that on play days, the kid who says, nobody knows, you could say you were that voice.
I'm pretty sure I once said I was the Milky Bar kid. Don't know if it was at uni or not, but I'm sure I said I was the Milky Bar kid. And I got a kiss, so it worked.
There we go. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, it's a slightly very loose Halloween theme. 2 questions this week. Mike, should we get on to questions?
Question 1, please, David.
Michael, one of the great pastimes of Halloween as a kid is trick-or-treating. You turn up to random people's houses, you ask for sweets for nothing in return, and for some reason people give you those sweets. But my question to you is, do people ever say trick to the response of trick-or-treat? And if they do, what do people actually do for a trick?
I mean, I don't think they do, but you've got to have it in the bag, haven't you?
Exactly.
You've got to be ready because, I mean, last year I remember Yeah. I think it was might have been the first Halloween we were actually going to be in for. And we got some sweets and whatever. And I said to Lucy, I was like, "Yeah, I've been speaking to people at work. We need something at the front door to let other people know that we're playing the game." She's like, "No, we don't." I was like, "Yeah, no, apparently it's a thing, like a skeleton, a pumpkin, or whatever, something at the front door, so people know that we're game. Knock on our door, we'll give you sweets." No one knocks on the door because we didn't put anything at the front door. So we had all these sweets. So I mean, I wasn't complaining. We got to finish the sweets at the end, but I was ready to be like, "Yeah, I want a trick." Like, what are you going to do to me? But what you do, I mean, a dance?
It's not really a trick, is it? I remember as a kid, the only time I remember anyone doing trick, I was like 5 years old. Obviously, some knocks the door, trick or treat. We said trick. And all they do, they just basically rip up some grass off the front lawn and try and throw it at us. Bear in mind, when they throw it at us, it didn't go anywhere. It just glides in the air.
Yeah, of course.
But even as a 5-year-old, when they start doing this, I just thought, that's our grass, that is.
Absolutely.
What are you doing?
Get off. You're not getting anything now, lads.
And I understand what you're saying in terms of you put something at the front door as a universal sign of, we're trick-or-treating.
So, yeah.
Don't you think that people don't really trick-or-treat anymore? Because I've never had anyone here as a random in my house coming to the door to do trick-or-treating. And it must have been at my mum and dad's when I was maybe about 17, 18. I don't think since then anyone ever came to the door to do trick-or-treating.
I was going to say, I think it's bigger now than what it was used to be. Yeah. I think there's a lot more. I mean, I don't know if it's you just see it more on Facebook and whatever, but I think there's a lot more kids now going out trick-or-treating. Because I think obviously it started in America.
Yeah.
I think it just slowly trickled. Do you like the trickle action? Slowly trickled.
Michael's doing some like a foreign cricket, if people need to know for the audio.
Slowly trickled over across the pond over here, and now it's just got momentum. Because if you imagine as a kid, obviously a lot of people watch American kids TV shows, trick-or-treating. Then your Asda's, your Sainsbury's, your pound shops, they all get on it. You can buy a quick costume, if you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. You can spend £5 in an outfit for a kid and just go out and then get as many sweets as you want. But I remember once, we didn't really do trick-or-treating. My mum and dad, well, my mum really was a bit against it. My dad once did when we visited him a weekend. We never told my mum, soz mum. But I remember my mum had gone out or whatever. Me and my brother were at home alone. We heard a rumour that next door but one was giving out money instead of sweets. Ooh. So we got a bin bag each and just put it over us. Knocked on doors like, trick or treat. She's like, it's barely a costume. We're like, yeah, but we're dead ghosts. She went off in the kitchen, came back. We got £2 each. Happy days.
Dead ghosts.
Yeah, I didn't really think when I said that then.
I think I did that once. I had a black bin bag, and I think my sister used some Tipex and just tried to draw like an outline of a skeleton costume.
Right.
But I remember going trick-or-treating a lot as a kid.
Okay.
But I've not seen anyone randomly knock a house around here, especially for years.
When you went trick-or-treating, did you have a trick up your sleeve just in case?
No.
See, exactly. Even that, for me, that concept is weird though, because you go to the door and say trick or treat. Now, in any other exchange, if I was to stand there and say treat, I'd expect them to give me a treat.
Yeah.
So why would I stand there, knock, trick or treat, open the door, trick or treat?
I see what you mean. You're expecting the person at the door to give, the person knocking the door to give you. Well, this falls into what Catherine does now with the girls, because obviously we do the coordinated trick or treat where you have to drive to people's houses to do those trick or treating.
Right.
But she calls it Happy Treat Day.
Okay, then.
So we turn up with a treat to the person that we're knocking on, because, and I understand it from Catherine's point of view, it's very much
that is Catherine.
Yeah,
all over.
You shouldn't expect that someone. But you're turning up either unannounced or you're giving them like a bit of warning. We're going to come around if that's okay. Should have sweets with them.
Yeah.
So I've already put the feelers out to a couple of people to say this is probably happening on Saturday. So maybe politely, please be prepared.
Are you still going to trick and treat then?
We're still going to do it.
Oh yeah, you're not tier 3 though, are you?
No, we're a good old tier 2 at the minute.
Yeah, up here it's like I've seen so many things on Facebook about what to do.
Actually, yeah, I guess how would that work in a tier 3?
I'm not too sure how it's going to work because thankfully we don't have to do a trick or treat with Ivy yet. But I have seen something on Facebook which I thought was quite decent, where you just get pumpkins, put them in your front door, and then just get like a shitload of Chupa Chups, stick them in the top, and then people just come along and then just take their individual lollipops, which I thought was a decent idea.
There'll be someone who will just take them all. There'll be some bastard.
Me?
Up to all the sweets house, somebody just took them all.
I remember one year that when I lived at my mum's, which you'll remember, it was like in the sticks, it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we never bothered at all. And I think it was one of our neighbours' grandkids knocked on our door, was like, trick or treat. It was like, shit, we've got nothing. Right, hang on. We raided the cupboards. Right, I was like, I can give you 2 Kit Kats. That's all I've got.
I think my mum and dad used to do that when you never expect someone to come around, you'd be like, I've got this club biscuit if you want it.
Oh, club biscuits.
I think it got to a point when if you were really like, oh, I've got nothing, then my dad would give like some proper like shrapnel. Like, I've got like some spare 2p's. Here you go, you can have that. And the kids would be like, what the hell is that? I'm like, well, it's that or a club biscuit, mate. Which one do you want?
Club biscuit or the way.
True.
See, I just wasn't. I'm thinking, I'm not giving you money. I'm not like you've probably just come to ours because we know the neighbours and whatever. I'm skint as it is. I'm not giving you money. Here, have 2 Kit Kats.
Knowing your mum's house as well. If someone does knock the door, I'd be a bit shit scared, thinking, "Who the hell is coming around here?"
Every time if someone knocks on that door late, it's like it's literally that old kind of thing of you look at each other and go, "Are you expecting someone?" No. Are you? No.
It's like that Peter Kay sketch of what time's this? What time's this? Because you've got, if I remember your mum's rightly, there is like a wood, isn't there? And it's like a little bridge with a little stream as well. To get to the house.
Proper like back roads, off the main road, down a street, and then it's up a dirt track. Many times I've thought I could have a back cave here and just get the Batmobile out here. And go up a bit of a dirt track, and then it goes over the old train tracks, line of yesteryear, and go over that bridge, and then it's just 4 houses on the right hand side. But it is literally that no one goes up there unless you see one of them houses. If
someone did a trick and you said, "Okay, trick," would you not be surely, even though you're asking for it, would you not, as a homeowner, be really pissed off? So someone said, "I've got some silly string, in the cans where you spray it on you." Would you not be a bit like, I know you're asking for it, but what the hell are you doing?
What? So if I say trick and they cover me in
silly string, is it silly string?
It's silly string.
Yeah.
I would slam the door in their face.
So it defeats the object, though, of it, doesn't it? That's the mean. Like, if you're asking,
I want
some
trick, sort of like, I'm Simon Cowell. You perform monkey.
You're asking for a magic trick, basically.
Yes. What's your party trick? So if you knock on my door right now and I say trick, what would you do?
Jeez. Northern accents. I've always wanted a party trick. And was it last year? I thought, you know what? I'm going to try and learn the moonwalk. Yeah. So I thought, you know what? That is at a wedding, especially. Song comes on, you bust that out when no one expects it.
Everyone would be talking about you the morning after.
Exactly.
Everyone.
Not the bride. Sack you. It's all about me. And I thought, I'm going to learn this. And then I think I attempted it for like an hour off a couple of YouTube videos, and I just couldn't bother. I think, thinking about it now, during lockdown, maybe I could have thought, maybe I have a bit more time to do this.
Maybe you could have done, yeah.
So next wedding, Mike, wherever they, if I'm busting out the moonwalk, you know why. I finally learned it. How about yours? What would be your party trick?
I don't know if this is a party trick, and you might remember this, but I can spread my 2 fingers quite wide.
I wondered where that was going. I don't remember this.
So I can. So
Jesus. What the hell is
right,
that?
so that's normal. That's normal.
I mean,
And
people
that's-
who are
hang
listening
on.
to this need to go find the YouTube version for this. Jeez. I
That's
mean,
normal.
you could fit a double-decker bus through that.
I could do it like an L.
That's like your
So I
superpower,
don't-
that is, isn't it?
So I don't know if that's a party trick.
I think just class it if you want to. Just class it as a party
I mean,
trick.
that's what I'm bringing out. If anyone asks me for a party trick, that's what I'm bringing out.
You know, said when we said a few weeks ago when we were going to apply to supermarket sweep and put something in down interesting. That's what you should put down. Rylan, this is what I can do. What you say to me? No. Look at my fingers. Look how they can spread.
The thing is, the only reason I can do that is because in high school, year 8, year 9, I was going out with this girl, Sally Cotton, and we'd gone ice skating. And then I think we had some sort of argument or whatever. And we're on the coach, and she's just pretty much sat opposite me. And I'd said something, and she turned around and gave me the V's, but as wide as that. And I wasn't even mad at her for being annoyed at me. I was impressed with how wide her fingers were. And I kept thinking, how have you done that? And I've genuinely, literally, like the moonwalk, but you gave up. I just worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And now, now I can.
You are literally like pulling your fingers apart with splinters. So if you listen to this, I would really implore you to go find the YouTube version of this episode and find Michael's very spread apart fingers so you can see the evidence and be freaked out as me. So, trick or treat, Mike, we're saying that nobody says trick and nobody actually has a trick. If people do actually have a trick they did as a kid that perhaps went completely wrong,
please let us know.
Please let us know.
Please let us know.
Next question, Mike, shall we do?
Yes.
Phobias, Michael. Everybody has probably some kind of phobia, whether serious or completely daft. And as it's Halloween and people are supposed to be scared of things at Halloween, I wanted to ask you, what is the silliest phobia somebody could have?
Well, I thank God for Google.
Yeah,
because I didn't have a clue.
Yes.
But I found 3 that I think is, it's they're interesting.
Do you have any phobias, Mike? Are you willing to diverge? Do you actually have?
I mean, I've got a phobia of dying, but I suppose
I think a lot of people probably have that.
I will literally sit there watching TV and just it'll get in my head, and then I can't stop thinking about it. That one day I will die, and that's it. Like it'll be. You just fall, like you go deeper and deeper, and it's like literally that's it. You've stopped. You don't see this person, that person. You can't watch it. Like it's just black, and that's it. That's you. You don't expect to wake up in the morning. It's a deep, deep hole.
I have that same feeling about the last couple of episodes of Lost. I mean,
all right.
I go in a black hole thinking, how did they ruin that show?
Never watched it.
First it was really good, and then I found out how it ended, and I was like, "Oh dear." Anyway,
right.
So fear of dying and fear of lost.
But not. I was scared of a rat in our gaff at uni once. Okay. Well, I say it once. We had a rat, and it was a big fucking rat. And I just remember getting out the shower, like a bath shower type thing.
Yeah.
1 foot out. And the other one went to go over, and I saw the rat scurry along, go down the back of the sink cylinder thing, and down its little hole. And I jumped back in that bath as quick as you could say, "Help!"
Did it appear in the kitchen at all?
Well, yeah, it runs from because the uni house had the kitchen, and then you'd walk into the bathroom, so it ran from the kitchen down the sink.
So you had a rat in the kitchen.
I had a rat in the kitchen.
And you know what to do.
And I did not have a clue what to do.
It's not necessarily a phobia, but I hate moths.
Moths?
Yeah, moths are the devil.
Yeah, they scare clothes. What are they going to do to you?
They scare the bejesus out of me. They are. Oh, I can't stand them. There is a video on YouTube where someone has reared a moth to a massive size, and it's got all these twiddly little legs. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, moths are horrible. 100%.
Is there? I'm just googling if there's a
name. There's probably a phobia.
There is a name for it.
And what is that? Mothophobia or something?
No. So it's the fear of butterflies or moths,
Okay.
and it's lepidopterophobia.
Okay. I probably do have lepidopterophobia. Moths are
You just sound like you're breaking up in a phone call.
moths are the devil. They are the
Why,
devil.
like, what are they going to do to you?
Go down my throat. I don't know.
Go down your throat.
They just, I don't know what it is. The way they fly really fast with their wings, like a kingfisher. I don't know. There's just something about them looks evil. I remember once as a kid, I went into my room and turned the light on. There was a gigantic moth on like a row of like books or something, had him on a shelf. And obviously you kind of freeze a bit.
No, David. No, you obviously don't. Just you, mate.
So I got my dad to get it. So my dad got it, right?
Please tell me you're like 20 or something.
No, it was last week. So I got my dad to get it. But what he did, he threw it out the window, but he just about closed the window in time because it almost went round and tried to come back in.
Right, okay.
It was like stuck on the window, and I was like, "Geez, like that wants to come back in and get me." So yeah, moths for me. I do have a couple others I found online, but what are the ones you found on Google, Mike, of your phobias? Because I also thank God for Google because I found some crackers of phobias on Google as well.
Now I've got a favourite one, but I'm going to leave that to last.
Okay.
And there's every chance you might have that one. So there is a name for a fear of dummies, mannequins, wax figures, etc.
Okay. What's
So
that one?
basically, Madame Tussauds is somebody's worst nightmare.
That's like ground zero, isn't it, for like a phobia?
Yeah.
For them. Okay.
And that name is automatonophobia.
People just make these up, don't they, when they figure them out?
Yeah, I'll say it again. Automatonophobia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia is like an English thing, isn't it?
Well, at first I was like, that's I had to read it twice to make sure it wasn't onomatopoeia.
Yeah. It's a phobia of the English language.
Automatonophobia.
Okay. All right. So that one for dummies.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Now I think a ginger started this one.
Okay.
It's a phobia of the sun.
Okay. Okay.
And they're called heliophobia,
Okay.
where you're literally afraid of the sun, and that has to be like a ginger or someone.
Yeah. That skin, that burnt ratio to your ginger hair.
Like the moment you step outside, the sun's shining. No, I'm going back in. I can't do this.
Okay.
And my favourite one that I found is a fear of having an actual phobia. So it's a phobia of a phobia called phobophobia.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, those people would not get out, surely.
You can't,
Fearophobia.
Like, I mean, I've been racking my brains. How does that work? Where you just wake up and you're scared of being scared of something?
I guess that is a state of constant anxiety.
It must be.
That's probably people do have like obviously constant anxiety all the time. So that must be a version of that. I'm guessing. That must be a version of that.
Maybe. Yeah, because I suppose you can get people that are anxious about something at work, but then I suppose you can get people that are on the edge quite a lot and they're just scared of anything going wrong. So they've got phobophobia.
It must be a version of it. Right, I found some on Google as well, which I quite enjoyed. A fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. So that person who like cheese and peanut butter, they don't have this phobia, presumably.
Well, hopefully not.
It's called, all right, let's try this. When I used to do my other less successful podcast, my one flaw was not being able to pronounce footballers' names from outside the British Isles.
Paul Merson.
Yeah. I was literally the Paul Merson of Wolves Fancast. This one is called arachbutrophobia.
Okay.
Arachbutrophobia. Yeah.
Do you think people with these phobias tell them I've got made up words phobia, or do they just say I've got a fear of peanut butter sticking to the top of my mouth?
I think they say that. The latter. They must say the latter.
Although, to sound a little bit better, would you say the full phobia? and make it sound like it's a proper phobia.
Well, I've got yeah. Just for a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Octophobia. What do you think octophobia is?
It's either the fear of October
Yeah.
or of anything that's got 8 sides, I imagine.
Very close. The fear of the number 8.
Ah, okay then. The fear of the number, in case it does what? Jumps out at you.
No, it's like a circuit. Optophobia. Optophobia.
Okay.
What do you think that is?
Optophobia. Scared of operating heavy machinery.
The fear of opening one's eyes.
I mean, that's 2020 all over, that is. If there's a phobia for 2020.
There was a fear of balloons, which I think some people actually, some people actually have this. That's a globophobia. This
Globophobia.
one I loved. The fear of long words.
Please tell me it's a long word for this.
It is. And not only is it a long word, it's the longest word in the dictionary.
Bastards.
This is. Here we go. And someone has just made this up.
That's how words. Sorry, David. That's how words work.
Yes.
There's someone that will think we need a word for this. But should we make one up?
You'll understand where. So hippopotamus osis crutro quipodilophlop. It's not even got phobia at the end.
Are you sure J.K. Rowling didn't write that in Harry Potter as a spell?
Literally, they've put hippopotamus on here. Hippopotamotrosis quip edilopop.
Now that is one phobia that you don't say the name for. You would just say, I'm scared of long words.
Yes. And a couple more finish off on this one. A fear of belly buttons. Yeah.
Why?
The explanation on here is people with this phobia will avoid seeing or touching belly buttons, even their own. I was
going to ask you that if it's their own.
They might even put a bandage over their belly button to avoid looking at it.
Okay.
And that's an oh God, it's too late. Omphalophobia. So that's my favourite one by far. And I remember seeing this on a Saturday night variety show. Is a phobia of buttons.
I think I might have heard of this,
So this is called comphophobia.
Okay.
Now, I remember seeing a program where they had people with silly phobias coming on to try and get over their fear. And there was this woman who had a fear of buttons, and they built like a tiny little room on the stage, and it was filled with buttons on the wall. There was bowls of buttons, and this woman was scared shitless of this room. She was asked to put a hand in the bowl, and she was shaking like, oh! And I remember just as a kid, just cracking myself laughing.
We are talking buttons as in like a cardigan, not buttons like to end the world. Buttons.
No, like your shirt buttons. Buttons. But yeah, as a kid, I just cried my mouth laughing. It was great.
Interesting.
So what is the silliest phobia to have, Mike? I mean, there's probably loads more we haven't even thought of.
I think the winner in that one, I think that it's the long words one.
Definitely.
Just because of the long name for it.
Long words phobia. It is. I think it's now time, Mike, to move on to listener questions.
Oh.
Right, it's that time of the podcast for listener questions. You can send us your questions in on the usual channels, Twitter, Instagram, email, YouTube, and we will try and answer them as best as we can. I think we asked for some Halloween-tinged questions this week, but any questions are welcome whatsoever.
Well, we have got Halloween-esque questions.
Yeah. So what are the questions this week, Michael?
So the first one, you've mentioned him already, at Metallica UK.
Mm-hmm. Good old Matt.
Has asked, have you ever done the old classic, put on a scary film to help secure a romantic liaison? And if so, what was the film?
I don't think I've done that just because myself and Catherine can't do scary films. Just can't do them. Can't do them. But Catherine's one of those people where if we watch something that's got anything remotely scary in it, we've got to watch something nice afterwards to get out of
really?
bed. Yeah. So that's got to happen. Have you ever done that, Mike?
I think I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember what the film was. But I remember I was seeing this girl before uni, and she was babysitting.
Mhm.
And she invited me over, and I said I couldn't make it or whatever. And I don't know if I could or whatever, but I was able to make it in the end. So I was like, Mum, can you drop me off? I'm going to surprise her, but can we go to Spa so I can get some bits first? So I remember picking up 4 Bacardi Breezes.
Oh, classic.
And I think a box of milk tray. I was like, right, sweet, drop me off, Mum. So I knocked on the door. She was surprised, and it was well received. And then she said, should we put a movie on? And I'm convinced, I was like, yeah. And then I found a scary movie thinking, yeah, you can cuddle up to me, I'll look after you, that type thing. But the more I thought about this, the more I realised it backfired.
Right.
I really needed the toilet. So I was like, I had to go upstairs to the toilet, and I was there for quite a while, to the point where the parents came back that she was babysitting.
Oh.
And she was like, yeah, Mike came, but he's still upstairs. I don't know what's wrong. And then the guy was like, you okay in there? I was like, yeah, nearly finished. Honest. And I think I bolted. I think I bolted out of that house. Everything, nothing was left to see, but I imagine you'd have been hit with it if you walked in. So I was like, yeah, gotta go. See you later. I'll text you some other time, Rachel. Bye. And just left.
Nothing says romance like milk train Bacardi Breezes, does it really?
Early 2000s, it was the way to do. It was the
Do you
way to go.
remember what Bacardi Breezer was? It was just like a.
It was the orange one.
Oh,
they really liked the orange ones.
Yeah, they were the best ones, in fairness. Okay, yeah. I remember as a kid, if I ever watched anything, not so remote, I just remember as a kid watching one of the Jurassic Parks for the first time, maybe like 2 or 3, and being scared going upstairs in case there was a velociraptor at the top of the stairs.
Really? Oh,
I know, yeah. I mean, and again, that was just last week. So any other questions on listener question?
There is indeed. So we've got 2 pumpkin related ones.
Ooh, okay.
So one has said, at Stu J4Z.
Good old Stu.
Have you ever seen a pumpkin any other time of the year? And then at skyblue_boy has asked, why pumpkins? What's the link?
So why pumpkins? What the link? I think if you Google that, there's going to be an answer.
Should I Google it, David?
Go on, you Google it. I'll do the pumpkin one other time of the year while you Google it. I don't think I've ever seen pumpkins any other time of the year. You might ever see something advertised like pumpkin soup or something, but you don't physically see a pumpkin elsewhere. It's like pancakes, the British pancakes. You wouldn't necessarily go out your way to make pancakes unless it's pancake day.
You might order them at a cafe that's got pancakes on, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody make pancakes except for Shrove Tuesday.
Exactly. Yes.
So
did you have to question yourself?
I was like, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Which one is it?
I mean, we might, especially for the girls, make crepes, which are basically
the middle class version.
Basically, yeah. You're just making pancakes. You're putting the chocolate on, but you just fold it over.
Yeah.
And you can say, "Oh, should we have some crepes, everybody?" But yeah, you wouldn't necessarily just go make pancakes for any other time of the year.
No. I've never eaten a pumpkin. I think I have, or even drank the pumpkin latte spice thingamajigger that Starbucks sell out of all the time.
It's only when you become an adult and you have to actually carve the pumpkins out yourself.
I've never done that either.
What?
I've never carved a pumpkin. No, it wasn't. Halloween just wasn't a thing for us as kids. So I've never. And again, because it wasn't that big when we went to school, primary school and stuff. I imagine they do it at school now.
I remember doing it as a kid. I mean, I say I remember doing it as a kid. I might have done a bit and left my dad to do the rest. And be like, oh, yeah, I've got a pumpkin.
I've got no memory of me carving out a pumpkin at all.
But since I've had the girls and you're like, right, okay, yeah, we'll get a pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do it yourself, you're like, oh, this is so annoying. Because the carving aspect of it, you see all these pictures on like Instagram of these really perfectly carved fronts, and it's a fantastic visual. I don't know how the hell they do that. I struggle to do a face.
I can't imagine how difficult it would actually be.
And it's not just that; it's the carving, it's the scoop, getting the ice cream scoop and getting all the seeds out. It's all gooey.
Yeah, I believe that's the thing as well.
Oh, so so all that hard work, and you just go, yeah, that's all right. Cheers, Dad.
Do you put a candle? Do people still put a candle inside them?
I get one of
Or
those.
is it health and safety?
Yeah, I think it's probably health and safety. I get one of those cheap IKEA tea lights that turn on. You
Yeah.
turn it upside down, it turns on. Just whack one of those in there. So help the environment and all that.
Help the environment and making sure that no kids burn to death.
Yes, exactly. Have you found out
I've
I'm on the
I have.
pumpkins? Okay, what does I mean? People this person could have done this, but we try and answer these questions for them.
That's why they come to us, David.
Yes, exactly.
So in Ireland, people started to carve demonic faces out of turnips to frighten away Jack's wandering soul.
Can you imagine if it was turnips, not pumpkins?
When Irish immigrants moved to the US, they began carving jack-o'-lanterns from pumpkins, as these were native to the region.
Okay, so
it's come from turnips in Ireland.
It's come from turnips, and it's basically come from pumpkins in America. I mean, American taking over our culture.
I'm gonna find out who Jack is.
Who's Jack from the pumpkin? Oh, I love it. It was turnips. Let's do turnips. Come on, everyone, bring back turnips.
Bring back hashtag. We could start something there. We could start. Oh, I forgot to tell you on correspondence.
Okay.
Tonight, I think number 16 was the highest I saw. Woolworths was trending.
What?
And a lot of people were talking about pick and mix. Now, I don't know about you, David, but I personally think it's because they were listening to a Daft question.
I think they've all gone, oh, I remember that.
And then therefore they've just tweeted about it. And there's so many pictures of the old scoops and the sweets individually wrapped and the little peppermints and whatever. And I just looked at that with a sense of pride.
Yeah, I think we should take personal credit for that. 16 in the UK trending.
Yes. Right, apparently, the origin comes from an Irish myth about Stingy Jack, who tricks the devil for his own monetary gain. When Jack died, God didn't allow him into heaven and the devil didn't let him into hell. So Jack was sentenced to roam the earth for eternity.
That's all right, isn't it? That's all right.
I mean, it kind of slightly takes the fun out of trick-or-treating.
There's a Doctor Who story in that, isn't there? There's going to be an episode of that one day. Okay, so we've answered both of those. Any more questions on the old listener question scope?
Yes, so we do have one from Magic Lee on the Twitter. What's the ultimate autumnal dessert?
Okay, so would there be a set parameter for autumnal dessert? How are you classing autumnal dessert?
Something warm?
Yeah. So something with custard.
Well, I mean, I think you know what my answer is going to be. But it doesn't have to be autumnal. It could be summer roll or spring roll.
Would you class an apple crumble with custard?
So if you go and crumble, I'd have thought more rhubarb crumble would have been autumnal.
No. Yeah,
compared to apple.
If it's got crumble, to be honest, if you just gave me crumble and custard, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, would you have ice cream? Ice cream's not. I mean, I would have ice cream, but for an
not autumnal. I think it's got to have some kind of, like, say, warmth through it.
Yeah.
For it to work. But I think a crumble with custard.
Yeah, I think a crumble. Yeah, I'd go with that. I think a crumble of whatever choosing is quite. Let's get indoors. Let's get comfy. Let's get cozy. Let's get some crumble and custard.
A bit of crumble.
Yeah, yeah. I think crumble's the way forward.
Okay, we'll go for crumble then with custard. Any other listener questions this week?
Yes, we've got one, which is an interesting one from Tobias.
Okay.
One of these from my Facebook from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, not the official channels. Come on.
I know, but there was 40 odd questions on here. It was the most we've had with all the episodes put together, David. Yeah. So he's asked an interesting one. In Roger Rabbit, how do the toons come alive? Do they just draw them and boom? Or is it a more complicated process?
Remind me, because they live in a separate...
Toonie Town?
Something like that. So, so is he saying in order for them to be alive in Toonie Town, did someone need to create them to come alive?
And then he's saying, but if someone just drew, let's say, Mickey Mouse, why does that not happen all the time?
I mean, that's deep, isn't it? That's proper deep. There must be some kind of process where someone's playing God and they're able to draw them and bring them to life.
I think.
Okay.
So Walt Disney's created Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse there films all the cartoons because all the cartoons are alive. So they'll physically film the cartoons, the action pieces,
Yeah.
or whatever. And then anything that's in a comic or newspaper or whatever, you just take photos. So there's literally one Mickey Mouse, one Minnie Mouse, one Daffy Duck,
Yeah.
one Pluto, all the other cartoon characters that I can't think off the top of my head. And they just film them or take photos of them.
Okay. Hang on. So how does the taking photos mean they come alive in this separate area?
No, but they're alive. So I think Walt Disney drew a character and they put it through a fancy machine and it came to life.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And therefore, because of that, the cartoons that you see on TV are filmed
Yeah.
by that one person. Or if you see them in a magazine, a comic, whatever, someone's just taking photos of them and then publish them.
So, but we're basically saying for them to come alive, there's some kind of fancy machine.
Walt Disney's magic. I don't think he's just drawn it, signed his name at the bottom, and it comes alive.
Okay, so fancy machines or just magic from people's hands.
Have you never been to Disneyland? It's magic.
Right. Okay. Any more listener questions for this week?
That's all we've got this week, David.
Okay, Mike. It's the return of surprise question. This is the part of the podcast where either Mike or I will ask each other a question, but it's a surprise. We don't know what the question is beforehand for research. It's completely off the cuff. The other person doesn't know what's coming. And for this week, it's my turn to ask you, Michael, the surprise question. Mike, before I ask you this question, I need you...
Wait, what's going on with your hands? Since when do you do this?
For the audio listeners, I'm putting my two fingers together in a serious mastermind pose. In order for me to ask this question, I need you to understand a concept. All right.
Right.
If you were to imagine a medieval castle,
yeah,
right, and you were to the castle gate, the classic gate that comes down the front to block the castle in.
I do.
So you understand that concept?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So Michael, my surprise
drawbridge, isn't it? Is that what they call it?
Well, the drawbridge is the one that goes over the moat.
Yeah.
But you can get
and
those.
This is the
the one that literally just goes down like that.
Yes.
I'm using for audio listeners my hand as a gate that goes down.
It's a beautiful looking gate.
Yeah. So here's my question for you, Michael. Surprise question.
Okay.
How many British style potato waffles would it take to form a fully functioning medieval gate? So how many of those British potato waffles you get in your supermarket would you need to put together to form a fully functioning and stable from attack?
Have you got an answer to this? Have you Googled it?
No, not at all. I've just thought this question up random and I want you to answer it.
Loads.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a sub question for your thinking. Are you cooking those waffles?
Well, you have to. So if we think in practicality, they have to be cooked to form any sort of barrier. I mean, I think cooked or uncooked, anybody's getting through it anyway.
Do you not think, though, a cooked waffle would be more prone to attack, to crumble, than a frozen waffle?
It'd be frozen for 3 hours and then it's just soggy.
Unless you built some kind of aircon machine.
Unless you PVA glue it, that hardens it.
Yeah, okay.
So you could get some PVA glue and just lather it on.
Yeah.
So I'm taking we're saying like a proper medieval one, not just
proper
bit on the back garden.
No, proper medieval gate. You've got to pop to the shops, get all your packets of potato waffles. Mike, just for audio purposes, is trying to count the amount of rows you would need for a proper medieval gate of potato waffles. Carry the two.
So I reckon it's about 11 or 12 for this table that I'm sat on alone.
Okay.
And that's just, oh my word, David. Right.
I've been waiting for
24.
weeks for this surprise question.
Right, so I reckon it'd be 40 along.
Okay.
And they're tall, aren't they? They're like 2, 3 of me standing on each of the shoulders.
Oh, right. Again, I thought you meant a potato waffle. Then
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
that
The actual
tall.
gate, the gate.
Uh,
They're quite big, aren't they?
I think you're looking at 3 or 4.
So if we say 3 of me,
Yeah, 3 of you standing on shoulders.
so if I lie across this table, maybe half of me. So we said 12 for that. So 24. So 24, 48, 72 up.
Okay.
Right. So
So
if I do 72 times 12, that's right, isn't it?
I'm going to take your word for it on this.
Is that how it works?
Maths is not.
72. That's right, isn't it? 72. 24,
Yeah.
48. Yeah.
Yeah, 72. Yeah.
times 12.
Yeah.
864 waffles.
864 waffles. So that counts
Right.
both. So is that counting both horizontal and vertical?
Yeah, that's covered. Yeah, that covers it. That's right.
And
that's
is
how
that
it works.
just one layer though? Do you think because of a waffle, whether cooked or frozen, you need double or triple layers of the same structure?
No, because we're going to PVA glue it. It'll be fine. It's hard as nails, the PVA glue.
Okay.
Now, so how many do you get? 12 in a packet of waffles?
I mean, I've got some waffles in the freezer, but
Or is it 8?
I can't be asked to go check them.
I think it's 8.
I think it's 12 actually.
Right, okay, let's just say it's 12. So divide that by 12. I would need to buy 72 packets. That can't. It must be more than that.
I think if you pop down to Aldi, you could probably get 72 packets of potato
For a
waffles.
fiver.
You imagine just in the trolley. Busy weekend. Yeah, just building a medieval gate.
Oh, for your children? No.
Just trying to prove a point. Have you got any PVA glue, love?
Special aisle, love. Special aisle. Right, so that's 72 packets.
So how many was that? Sorry, 800 and...
Oh my word, I've closed my app now. Hang on. 864.
So we're saying in order to build a medieval kind of gate out of potato waffles, British style, it needs to be 872. Did you say
864?
864.
Can I just say as well, right? This, if there's any question that fits our bio for this podcast, it's that question. 2 friends, 1 podcast. We attempt to debate the questions you never thought you needed the answers to. I guarantee there's not anybody listening to this that has once thought, got a packet of waffles in their hands and gone, how many of these does it take to build a gate for a medieval castle?
And that is what we try to do, Mike. We live to serve these questions. I hope that's not only answered my question, which it has, but many people now have thought, you know what? Yeah, right, I did think that.
I don't think it will.
Okay, so surprise question done. Mike, you can return serve for the next episode for your surprise question. You have got a good few days to
how many dairy milk bars would it take to build a yacht to get across from one end to the River Mersey?
Okay, we'll just save that for next week. Right, should we do last question, Mike?
Let's do it, David.
Halloween, Michael, has many monsters and ghouls to scare us. Traditionally, from the Hollywood versions, we know of Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf. But for this last question of the podcast, Mike, I want to know, out of those 3 stereotypical Halloween characters, who would make the worst office colleague?
So just repeat the ones again for me, please.
So we're going for Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf. A man a woman who goes into the werewolf. I think for this question as well, we have to set the rules of the Dracula and werewolf are always in their form. They don't have to wait till night time or a moon to come up.
Well, that is completely ruined what I was going to say for this answer.
Okay, so to not spoil your research then, let's say that they have to form those situations still have to happen. It has to be night, full moon still has to come out. What are you saying?
It was going to be Dracula.
Okay.
Because he wouldn't do anything. Like, he'd just sit in a coffin all day while we're trying to bust our ass, making sure that we hit that 5 p.m. deadline. But considering that he can work during the day, Frankenstein.
Yeah, so in my version where any rules were possible, so the darkness and that didn't work, I put Dracula down as the worst as well,
Okay then.
and Frankenstein as the best.
Right.
Dracula-wise, I just think he would flirt with the colleagues all day. I just think he's got that persona.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's one of those people that would laugh at his own jokes, and he has that Dracula laugh that would just grind you down.
One,
Yeah. He'd,
two,
he'd say a
Maybe
joke.
that's what Count Dracula's doing. Is it Count Dracula? Is it Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks him saying 1, 2, 3 is hilarious, and he's literally laughing at his own jokes.
I think so. But then that's when he laughs at his own jokes at the end, and you're just like, oh, not again. Not again. But I think he'd be great at parties, though. He'd stay up all night.
No, I don't think he'd be good at parties because he'd try and get you in a dark corner and suck your blood.
But then that's what I mean. If you went out for like a work meal, he'd be the fussy one who has to order particular things.
Yeah, he would.
And he'd have to wait for it to come before you could then start.
And you couldn't order anything garlic.
No. Oh, Dracula, you can't have garlic, can you? Can you just sit at the other end of the table if you're going to have that?
So there'd be no cold garlic bread for him.
Oh no. True, yeah. Couldn't go to a pizza place for that, or any Italian establishment.
Werewolf, I just imagine he'd get his hair everywhere.
Yeah, I think he'd be yeah, I think that, yeah. I think he'd just be annoying all the time. He'd be non-stop all the time.
If you were a cleaner, you'd constantly be just with a Hoover behind him, wherever he is.
I get the sense of the werewolf that he or she would take anything you say to the wrong end. They get the wrong end of it straight away, and just would get really annoyed quite easily.
I can imagine werewolf getting annoyed quite easily.
And what else? I didn't know what else for Dracula. I think that was it. I know for Frankenstein, I think he'd be that guy that wouldn't say anything, but at the end of a sentence, he'd make a grunt noise, and everybody would find it hilarious. And they'd be like, "Oh, Frankenstein, what a guy!"
Like the old 80s cheesy sitcoms.
But I think he'd be the workhorse. He'd just get stuff done.
He would, but quite sluggish.
Yeah.
I think you could give him anything. He wouldn't complain. You could give him the most mundane tasks, and he'd like, and go off and do it. But then you're still waiting 6 hours later.
Yeah.
Like, has he not emptied that bin yet?
He'd still get the job done, though.
He'd still get the job done, and he just wouldn't complain about anything you gave him.
Slow and steady wins the race. Well, he would complain. He would complain, or you think he's complaining. You'd be like, "Oh, stop complaining," but that's just his natural reaction.
You could be telling him some gossip how Deirdre got with Sandra or something, and he would just literally react, going,
"Oh, not you as well. I thought you'd support me for Frankenstein."
But he's probably like, in his head, he's like, "No way," but he just has that one.
Oh, what other kind of Halloween type characters would you have in office? A witch? They'd be the gossip, or you'd
have to be careful at witch, because if you couldn't gossip about the witch, because if she got a sniff of anything, like there'd be some sort of potion like chucking in mice legs and Deirdre's hair and Sandra's toenails, and then mixing it all up, and then suddenly you're a frog.
Yeah, you wouldn't want the witch to do the tea round.
No.
Because if you piss them off, you know what type of brew you were getting.
Yeah, no chance. No, stay clear of the witch. What other typical Halloween costume people are there?
I mean, all I know is like your skeleton, but then...
No, you'd have to give them your coat all the time.
Yeah. Oh, cover up, man.
The heating would have to be up all the time.
Yes.
Because of that one annoying person, and it'd be skeleton. Because he's cold all the time, so you'd have to knock up the heating, and then you'd literally have to turn up his shorts and t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, that would be one.
So he'd be the most annoying.
So the one we haven't put down as the list.
Yeah.
would be the most annoying.
Because there is always really that one person that just is never happy with the temperature.
Yeah.
But you've got to change the temperature for that person. And Skeleton would be that bastard.
So we're
And
saying
July, and he's like, "No, I'm too cold."
a hoodie, but put a jumper on then. It's July. Don't need to put a jumper on, do I? Well, I'm guessing but in the summer months, wouldn't he just have that to his advantage though? He or she would have had that to their advantage.
Yeah, but I'd like if I was going to say if I'm walking naked, I'd still be cold, but I don't think I would. Well, that'd be an excuse anyway, David. It's chilly today, isn't it?
So we're saying then Frankenstein, Dracula, werewolf. Who would be the most annoying office colleague? In that scenario, we're probably saying Dracula, but we're probably saying actually a skeleton overall.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we have answered that question as well for people. I'm sure Dave will also be wondering who the most annoying would be.
This is one episode for all those random questions that people have desperately need answered.
This is a quality hashtag content for many people. I think we'll leave it there, Mike. Another episode of A Daft Question done. Thank you very much for people for listening. 5-star review on iTunes if you have got it. Thank you very much. Mike, it's your favourite part once again for the end of the podcast. If people want to follow us on the socials or just get in touch with their questions, follow the official channels. Got a question, you send it here. Personal ones, we will, yes, read it and use it, but please send it to the official ones, please. Mike, where are those official ones?
Instagram or Twitter at A Daft Question. Email us adaftquestion@gmail.com or search A Daft Question on YouTube and comment on one of our little videos.
Lovely. And for this spooky Halloween edition, or kind of really not so edition, Mike, any spooky sign off from you? Just to illustrate for the audio listeners, Mike's giving me the two fingers, but he's very freakishly outbent two fingers.
No, it was good. It was. I look forward to listen to this in the morning.
Okay, all right.
No pressure, David.
I shouldn't have told you it was off. Should I really? So it's bye from Mike for this week.
Bye from David from this week.
It is bye from me. See you next time.